Hey, it's Terry with Something Spooky, and this is the Malignant Spoiled video. As the title suggests, we're going to be getting into full spoilers for Malignant, so if you don't want those, get out now. I do have a review posted, a text review, where you can see my non-spoiled thoughts in a more organized way. This is going to be me just kind of riffing on things that occurred to me about Malignant, but it's going to get into spoilers fast, so final warning. I do want to point out I was very excited for Malignant all year as soon as I heard about it at the beginning of the year when I had nothing else to go off of but the title and the fact that James Wan was directing a movie that was coming out right before Halloween. I was sold. I was looking forward to it. And then once we got the poster, which was very Dario Argento, Suspiria influenced, I was sold. I was so excited for this movie going into it. And when I saw it, I was the only person in the movie theater, which is pretty cool. I haven't been to the theater a lot in the last couple years now, as a lot of people understand, I'm sure. But it was cool, even though I wish Malignant was doing better at the box office, to be able to have my own private screening of it after looking forward to it for so long. So needless to say, I really, really liked the movie. Again, you can see my full organized thoughts in the review. But I'm gonna get right into the twist now, because I don't want to be dodging around it in a spoiled video. So the big twist in Malignant, it had been billed as the fact that this woman, Madison, can see murders as they're happening. She's like seeing these visions. And there are kind of different threads in the movie that lead you in different directions as to why that's happening. There's kind of a big cover up to the actual twist where you're thinking that, she's the one doing it and she's just not conscious of what she's doing or whatever. But it's actually much more insane than that. And the big twist is that Gabriel, the monster of Malignant, the psychic monster who's committing the murders, is actually part of Madison. He is attached to her back. He's like a tumor that has grown into like a small child, and they tried to repress it inside of her. And basically, through events of the movie, he gets reawakened and is taking over the main character's body. And he is the monster, she is the monster. They're kind of a two-in-one character, but in a way that we've never seen before, where the character is actually on the back of the other character's head, and so when Gabriel's in control, he's all turned around and he looks all backwards, and it's a big part of his movement and style, and it really gives him an iconic monster movie look right away. So that's the big twist. It is pretty loose, I have to say. If you're somebody who has a lot of kind of logical hangups with movies and you like things to be real well explained, you may not get that here, and it's probably going to take away from it from some people. I get into this in my review, but there are plenty of kind of loose ends and sloppy things that it feels like they probably could have done a little bit better on. But, I accepted it as just kind of bat crazy supernatural happenings that we used to see in giallo movies like Suspiria or Argento's Inferno, any of those kind of movies. Those are more directly supernatural, whereas this is, not exactly supernatural, but it still is when you get into the psychic side of things here, where you kind of just open it up to anything happening at that point and just accept it on its premise. And if you get into that mindset, then it's really brilliantly done. But it is kind of hard to get past that first hump, and I'll have to give credit to people who are having trouble with that. But also, I think that there's something that is almost grindhouse feeling in the way it's just so shamelessly insane. It's like an 80s movie or an old like Warren magazine, where it's just, anything can happen in this story and it's not going to like hold back from it. It just is what it is. And if you can accept that, you really enjoy it. There are some plot holes. Well, one of the big ones for me, I'm sure that there's some way to explain this, but if you get into the scene by scene things that are happening with Gabriel, at the beginning of the movie, he kills Madison's husband, and she sees that in a dream. So like you can assume that, she's like seeing these visions while she's doing it kind of, but then she like wakes up and moves through the house and is herself attacked and gets knocked unconscious. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, how did that happen? If that was, Gabriel the whole time, I'm sure there's some way, maybe it was just another vision or whatever, but it just feels kind of sloppy. And there's a few other things like that, you just get into when things are like that crazy in a story, I guess. Also, I thought this is a very nitpicky small thing. I thought there was a bit of a wasted opportunity with the asylum, which is like the opening shot of the movie. And it's like this grand, great, looking set piece. And they do go there in the movie. And there is like a couple scenes where Madison's sister is like slinking around the asylum to find information, but it just kind of like happens and it's over. And I wonder personally, it feels like maybe something that's going to show up in extended scene, something that got cut from the theatrical release for some reason. But like a lot of emphasis is put on this location, and then nothing like really happens there, and it seems like a wasted opportunity because it's a really cool setting. few other points. There's like this detective story that's going on the whole time. I think it works pretty well. It's pretty shallow and kind of predictable, but I do like the two actors and their chemistry, and it kind of just gives you this other backdrop to everything happening, so that you're not just totally plugged in with the insanity the whole time. You kind of get this view, from the law. And there's a lot of cool scenes in that with like fog and police lights, where it just looks really beautiful and brings out some of those giallo vibes with the colors and set play and stuff. Also like a weird familial metaphor here that I won't even try to understand yet, between Madison and Gabriel, and then Madison's birth mother, and then Madison's adopted sister, who Gabriel wanted to kill. It all culminates and ends, in the hospital room with everybody there. So there's clearly a message there. There's clearly a lot happening there. I have not unpacked all of it. I think it works well enough. It's maybe a little too dense. It's maybe too much, more than it needed to be, but it still works, and it does give some stakes to all of the proceedings. Overall, I thought Malignant was wonderful. It was amazing. It's a unique vision. It's very James Wan still also. It's kind of him really reaching his culmination, I feel like, with all of his different skills and expertise that he's acquired over the years, doing things like the Conjuring and Insidious movies, even doing things like Aquaman and Fast and the Furious. I think you can really see that in this movie, the fact that he's been doing these big budget movies and has kind of learned some new tricks, and he's taking them back to his old trade. It's also just, like I said, a beautiful movie, and it's very unusual, unlike things that we get now, at least in big theatrical releases, with just how daring it is, and how much it just doesn't care and is willing to just try different things. And maybe most excitingly, it gives us a new movie monster, and I do think Gabriel will endure. I hope so. The movie isn't doing super great now, but he seems like one of those characters. He has enough of a look, enough of a story that once it latches on, hopefully it'll stick. Overall, I love Malignant. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you read the review. We also have a James Wan horror films ranked list coming up this weekend, so I'll be ranking his 7 primary horror films, from The Conjuring, Insidious, and Saw, and Malignant. And also all kinds of stuff coming up over the next month for Halloween. So some of the things you can look forward to, there's going to be giveaways. I'm going to be doing some giveaways for the first time on the page. You're going to be able to win copies of my book, as well as some other fun, just little Halloween stuff that I've picked up. That's one of those is going to be starting next week. And then the first week of October, we're going to have Boris Karloff week. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of different posts on different Boris Karloff movies, so you can look forward to that. I'm going to have a Halloween Kills weekend when that movie releases. It's going to be similar to what's happening this weekend with Malignant, where there will be a few different kind of features on Halloween Kills. And then, of course, I'm going to be building towards the horror movie of the year list from Something Spooky on Halloween Day. That's how I did it last year. I watched so many new movies, from the year during Halloween, that I feel pretty confident making that list at the end of the season. I probably won't be watching as many the next 2 months of the year. That said, if anything huge does come out, I will be doing an updated or revised list at the end of the year anyways. But I think this is a fun way to kind of cap off Halloween and hopefully give you some brand new recommendations to watch on the big day. So look forward to all of it. I'm happy to be doing it. I'm excited to be doing it. Stay tuned for more and stay spooky. Happy Halloween.